Will affordable housing be mainstream national agenda? Ever since my back-to-back video about housing affordability and the need for making it a national mainstream agenda got viral, I am flooded with requests to champion this cause. Of course, I am only talking about the Indians who are concerned with house price inflation and not about the vested interests who feel threatened and come to my channel with their backlash. They feel I am a game spoiler for their vested interest in the housing market of India. You can easily make out the vested interest with the kind of comments that they went out whenever I talk about unaffordable house prices, need of rationalizing housing market, more regulatory standards, and possibility of a price crash in such unsustainable market. You are watching Track to Reality and I am Ravi Sinha. This video is to explore whether and more importantly, how affordable housing could be made an issue of mainstream political discourse and elections. A recent report that exposed the unaffordability of housing in India did not only make the headlines but also brought the issue on the mainstream national agenda. The report calculated the average earning of 5% richest Indians and the corresponding savings rate, gross domestic savings, to assess the housing affordability of major Indian cities. It concluded that without a loan liability, you need no less than 109 years to buy a decent 1184 square feet house in Mumbai. Other cities were also not far behind, where one needed some 50-60 years of earning to buy a house. Even tier 2 and 3 cities are far beyond the accepted global affordability benchmark of 5 years of gross income. This affordability analysis simply proves that houses are not affordable for even the richest 5% urban Indians. Forget about the rest of the population. And yet, there seems to be a collective conspiracy of silence on the issue. As basic need as roti, kapda and makan is nobody's agenda. It has neither been an agenda for mainstream political discourse nor an issue in any of the elections. How many times have you seen a political debate or prime time news debate on housing affordability in the country? And I'm not even talking about why you have been silent all along. Why have you never asked this basic question to those who come to you asking for your weapon of governance, your valuable vote? It is indeed tragic that one needs to work and save for 3 to 4 generations to be able to give a house to the generation next. Yes, housing is very much part of the generational wealth in many countries, and India is no exception. But the irony is that India has the dubious distinction where one can't dream of buying a house with one's own income and saving. This has been a reality for quite some time, but this was being brushed down the carpet with new definition of housing affordability. A loan liability for the next 20 to 25 years. House purchase is actually helping all the stakeholders, barring the home buyers. The banks that earn interest with housing loans, builders making unreasonable profits, brokers getting commissions, and the government getting GST and stamp duty. And hence, the new normal across the Indian cities is property buying with heavy debt. One slogs for the initial minimum 10 years of life to save 15 to 20% down payment for the house and then for the next 20 years to repay the house loan. It seems the houses are not meant for people to live. Rather, people work and sacrifice their lives and many other pleasures just for living in these highly inflated houses. In this new normal, the irony is that housing affordability is calculated with your loan eligibility and not your purchasing power or net worth. And the affordability is defined with one's debt to income ratio, EMI to salary ratio, and other such fancy financial traps. The previous generation of Indians were no doubt far more money smart in terms of calculating housing affordability with their purchasing power and net worth. Most of them built a house at the fag end of their career without any loan liability and within their means. Owning a house was meant more for self use and not flaunting house ownership as a status symbol. But the new generation has been sold a dream that mesmerizes the market's greed is influence peddling for home buying even in the early 20s now. Irony is that this new normal has been so normalized that affordable housing is no one's agenda today, and lack of decent affordable housing is neither in the mainstream political discourse nor an election issue. The government has conveniently defined affordable housing within a price range of 45 lakhs. The question is whether the various state governments own development agencies like DDA in Delhi, Mahada in Mumbai, or Chandigarh Housing Board in Chandigarh, they are providing houses within that budget. No, everything has been left to the profiteer builders who have made housing a haven for parking wealth of the rich and powerful, those who are less than even 1% of the demography. The size of the demography is big, that's why it's continuing. The share of affordable housing across the country is shrinking and would soon be in only single digit to be eventually a distant dream. With the report of housing affordability reaching to 109 years of income, the issue this time got into political discourse as the leader of opposition and Congress MP Rahul Gandhi raised concern over the unaffordable house price index across the country. But the question is, such one off remark is not going to change the housing realities in this part of the world. Unless affordable housing is brought into mainstream political discourse and made an election issue, nothing is going to change on ground. Builders will be given a free rein to maximize the profits with luxury and ultra luxury property launches, and super rich investors will patronize those housing stocks to park money. Other stakeholders' vested interests are also falling in place. But what about the common man looking to have a roof over the head within his means? Now, one may argue that affordable housing is not an India specific problem. It's true that affordable housing is a challenge in many global cities where businesses have their headquarters. But globally, many countries, including capitalist societies, have successfully implemented welfare strategies to provide affordable housing to urban workforce. These include public rental housing, social housing initiatives, and other forms of subsidized homes. Examples of social housing by Singapore and Vienna are model case studies. China has also successfully implemented affordable housing initiatives. In India, all the high flying announcements of rental housing with respective union budget have only remained on paper. And it is so because affordable housing is not an election issue. Governments have been thrown out of power in the past on as low cost items as onion prices, but not on the highly overpriced, unreasonable, and artificially inflated product like housing that is your basic need. Affordable urban housing is a mainstream political agenda in many other countries where the issue is recognized as crucial for social equity and economic development. The question is, what should you do for it? Indian masses buying overpriced property in top tier cities should pause their purchase decisions and instead take a leaf from global outcries for affordable housing. Global campaigns for affordable housing, financial barriers, and not in my backyards are a few case studies. An average Indian today needs to realize that unless he stops buying debt trap houses in these cities and demand for a comprehensive housing solution, affordable housing will neither be a long term agenda of mainstream political discourse nor be made an election issue. And affordable housing for the migrant workforce across the major cities of India is not as much the need of the salaried class as the government, businesses, and corporates. They are the ones who need migrant workforce for their business growth and economy at large. But they are least bothered and careless with the issue because there is impulsive buying of costly houses by the salaried class with neck deep borrowing, and the cycle of housing exploitation continues, where even after you get trapped with neck down debt, all that you get is substandard housing, delayed possession, missing promised amenities, and even denied your possession. Why is builder's default also accepted as the new normal? When the top 5% richest in the country can't afford to buy a house without the earned legacy of previous 3 4 generations, how can the rest of the masses even dream to buy? And yet, there is no demand for the same. No one is making it a national agenda. Will the salaried class finally demand and raise the issue of affordable housing as their demand against casting vote? Well, my guess is as good as yours, if only wishes were horses. Thanks for watching.